Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone.
I have hypothyroidism. That's low thyroid hormone. And millions of people have hypothyroidism. Low thyroid causes low energy, tiredness. For many years, I took no prescription drugs except when I was in hospitals in 2023 after the hit and run I suffered. Now, because of hypothyroidism, I have taken one small pill every morning for a few weeks. I still do not feel much improvement from it, but maybe it'll take a few more weeks for that pill to work. The fluoride and the chlorine in city water make low thyroid condition worse. The fluoride and the chlorine in city water make hypothyroidism worse. So I bought a steam water distiller for about $70. In fact, I was using it this morning to remove the fluoride and chlorine. The containers of sodium fluoride have a skull and crossbones on the outside of the containers. A skull and crossbones. Sodium fluoride is used to kill rats. Sodium fluoride is used to kill insects. Fortunately, very recently, the state of Utah has now stopped fluoridating water. Many nations and cities in Europe refuse to fluoridate their water. They know better. Sodium fluoride is a waste product of the aluminum industry. So follow the money. The aluminum industry makes big money in the United States from cities using their waste product to fluoridate water in many U.S. cities. Calcium fluoride is found in nature, calcium fluoride. But sodium fluoride that's used in water fluoridation is never found in nature. Sodium fluoride can cause cancer. Sodium fluoride can cause arthritis. Sodium fluoride can cause low thyroid hormone. Sodium fluoride can cause kidney damage, less immunity to disease. Sodium fluoride can make aging go faster and can cause Down syndrome. It is poison, but it's added to the water in Albuquerque. Some years ago, it was taken out for a while of the Albuquerque city water, but it was put back in, and I spoke out strongly, publicly, against fluoridating our city water, but sadly, it was brought back. And even though I disagree with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. on many things, I strongly compliment Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for opposing water fluoridation in this country. Some women, some men who have beautiful, sexy bodies sadly, are stuck up, cold as ice toward most people who know them. Someday, if those women and men who have beautiful, sexy bodies live long enough, they may be glad if anyone, male or female, find them sexually attractive. I appreciate if anyone finds me attractive, even if I'm not sexually attracted to the person. I appreciate if anyone finds me attractive, even if I do not want and do not have sex with that person. By myself, I cannot stop the United States and Israel from murdering and injuring hundreds of thousands of Palestinian kids, moms, dads in Gaza and the West Bank. But for 46 years so far, I have paid not one bloody penny of U.S. federal income tax for U.S. mass murder of millions of people in many nations around the world. I enjoy living simply below the federal income taxable level. I hope my example, my public testimony, inspires someone to stop paying U.S. federal income tax for mass murder. A woman wrote, "I'm a woman 25 and was afraid to be openly affectionate toward my sister. She was 26, and I wanted to hug and to kiss her many times. She was the sweetest person, a true friend in every way, but I never let her know how I felt. Instead, I substituted my real feelings by buying her gifts. She was not a woman of means and had only her love to give me, and she gave it in abundance." This woman wrote, "I recall hugging her only at Christmas because I had an excuse. Christmas traditionally is the season for showing appreciation and friendship. On February 25th, my sister died. My world has collapsed. How sad that she never knew how much I loved her. What a tragedy that I foolishly deprived both my sister and myself of so much pleasure." And this woman says, "When there is love among family members, in the name of heaven, show it. Don't put it off until later. It may be too late." Signed, Forever Regretting, in Aurora, Colorado. I know a very intelligent young woman. She is a mother of a daughter, 1 year old. And this young woman is an environmental scientist, very intelligent. But sadly, as far as I know, she has made no big changes in how she lives because of the climate crisis that severely endangers her child's life and millions of other children when they become adults. How sad that this very intelligent environmental scientist refuses to make huge changes in how she lives. When Gandhi was asked what worried him most, he said, "The hardness of heart of the educated." Jimmy Carter was a Baptist Sunday school teacher. Jimmy Carter was a volunteer with Habitat for Humanity many, many times, building homes for low-income people. Jimmy Carter received a Nobel Peace Prize. Jimmy Carter often spoke up for human rights. But sadly, Jimmy Carter called the greatest honor of his life having the most heavily weaponed submarine ever built, named after him, the USS Jimmy Carter. He celebrated as the greatest honor of his life having the most heavily weaponed submarine ever built, named after him. I have made many mistakes in life, and many things in my life I would want to do differently if I had my life to live over, knowing what I know now. And I wonder, did Jimmy Carter ever regret having that mass murder nuclear submarine named after him? Did his wife Rosalind Carter or anyone close to him, anyone sitting in his Sunday school classes that he taught for years at Plains Baptist Church, did anyone ever urge Jimmy Carter to publicly apologize and demand that the nuclear submarine no longer carry his name? I ask you who watch this program, who see me on the streets, please tell me if you see me doing something opposed to what I stand for. Keep me accountable to walk my talk. Why is alcoholism higher among lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender persons than among straight people? Why? For many years, booze bars are where lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenders have felt more free to meet, to dance, to hook up. But do they realize that booze and cigarettes lower the sex hormone testosterone? Do the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender persons who drink booze realize that booze and cigarettes make them age faster and make them less sexually attractive as the years pass? Sadly, many parents teach their sons and daughters to lie by rejecting them if their sons and daughters told the parents the truth, that they were gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. One very close friend of mine never came out to his mother, and she died. And he loved her, he helped her in many ways. She loved him, she appreciated his visiting her hundreds of times in 5 years in the nursing home, but he never told her the truth that he is gay or bisexual. How sad. And that mother, whether she knew it or not, was teaching her son to lie to her. Millions of lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans persons suffer much sexual shame and guilt, and they use the booze to drown their sexual shame and guilt, and their shame and guilt about living a lie to many straight people they know. And when I told my mother days after I first had sex with any male in my life, at 31 years old, my mother told me she had never known there are gay people in the world. A few years later, my mother told me she wished she could be a mouse in the corner to watch me have sex with a man. And sadly, that never happened. She never got to watch me have sex with a man. I wish she had. I suppose most of the many, many men I had sex with would not have wanted her to watch. And my mother's telling me she wished she could be a mouse in the corner to watch me have sex with a man. Her telling me that set me free from all shame, all guilt about sex with men. If I'm attracted to him, he's attracted to me. It's consensual and affectionate. A wonderful gift we give each other. Having sex with attractive men who have much shame and guilt does not feel good. I want sex with a man friend to bring us closer as friends. But if he has shame and guilt, our friendship may suffer if he and I have sex. I was a very sincere young Christian preacher in Virginia and Illinois in the 1960s, but I am no longer a believer. I'm deeply indebted to many people on my long journey away from all religion. And Jesus promised, if you then being evil know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask? Jesus said that, supposedly, according to the Bible, if Jesus actually lived and if he said all the stuff that is in the Bible that says he said it. But sadly, what he said is not true. For thousands of years, millions of people have prayed desperately for help from starvation, tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, fires. For thousands of years, millions of people have prayed desperately for help from torture, rape, severe pain, earthquakes, family violence, war, and received no help. Any human father or mother able to help, but refusing to help their son or daughter, desperately begging for help, would be guilty of child abuse. In the Bible, Jesus called God Father 180 times. 180 times in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Jesus was sadly wrong. I wish we had a fair, loving, all-powerful parent God who helped all who prayed for help. I wish that. But all the wishing in the world does not make that true. The Bible contains some precious wisdom, but many evil verses in the Bible support slavery. Paul wrote, "Servants, obey your masters in all things." So, if the white master rapes your black mother, obey your masters in all things? What garbage, evil garbage. The Bible, a good book with many verses supporting slavery? Hell no. And many Bible verses support war. Joshua 10:40. Joshua defeated the whole land. He utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel commanded. Mass murder of all that breathed, as the Lord God of Israel commanded. Presidents, many bloody dictators, Hitler, Stalin, nothing that any of them have ever said was more evil than this verse in the Bible and many other verses that support war in the name of God. Total mass murder commanded by the Lord God of Israel. The Bible, a holy book? You gotta be kidding. You gotta be crazy. Hell no. And Paul wrote, "Let every soul be subject to the higher powers, for there's no power but of God." No power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. What crazy garbage. Were the Nazis ordained of God? Was the U.S. government that murdered millions in Native America, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, Central America, Gaza, ordained of God? When two nations are murdering each other in war, are both governments ordained of God? Crazy garbage in the Bible. Paul wrote, "Let the women learn in silence with all subjection." In other words, men on top. And let the women learn in silence under the men. Evil. The Bible puts women below men in many verses. Jesus said, "Your heavenly Father feeds the birds. Are you not of more value than the birds?" But the truth is, millions have starved to death. God did not feed them. And Jesus said, "Not one sparrow will fall to the ground without your Father's will." You are of more value than many sparrows. But are the many disasters, the many atrocities suffered by millions of people for thousands of years according to God the Father's will? Hell no. Insanity. What loving human parent would send their son or their daughter to never-ending torture with no pardon, no parole, ever? Jesus told us to forgive with no limit. So Jesus was telling us to be more forgiving than God? And these things, I guess, when I was majoring in Bible in Virginia at a Mennonite college in the Shenandoah Valley, I don't know that any of these things really struck me to the core. It's like I was out of touch with reality to some extent. Proverbs 13:24, he who spares the rod hates his son. Using pain and violence on your son's or your daughter's precious body to make him or her live right? Some of the worst advice in the world on how to raise children. Imagine if the Bible had said in that verse instead, the father and the mother who give lots of strong, affectionate hugs to both their sons and their daughters from birth to death, love them. A woman writes, last night, my husband and I were having a late night talk when the conversation shifted, and I asked him if his parents had ever told him that they loved him. She says, we've been married several years. I've never heard either one of his parents tell him they love him. I did not realize what an old wound I had opened until he told me that every once in a while his mother tells him that she loves him, but his father never has. Tears welled in my eyes, this woman says, and I sensed the hurt in his voice. He told me that once when he was a teenager, he tried to tell his father that he loved him, but his father made a joke of it and changed the subject. And she says, I know how he feels. My father died when I was 20, and even though I had told him I loved him, I only heard him say it to me one time. I was miles and miles away from home, and he said it over the telephone. She says, I've treasured that memory for the past 16 years. I hoped he would say it again, but he never did. That one time, however, will sustain me forever. And this woman says, tell a son, daughter, mother, father, relative, friend, anyone who is loved, that he or she is loved. Native American Tim Giago wrote, on crystal clear nights when winter winds whistle over the hills and through the gullies at Wounded Knee Creek, the Lakota elders would say it is cold enough to hear the twigs snapping in the frigid night air. They called this time of year the moon of the popping trees. It was the stillness of such a freezing morning, December 29th, 1890, that was shattered by the blast of a single rifle. There was a pause, and then utter madness and chaos ensued as the Hotchkiss machine guns mounted on either side of that valley overlooking the Lakota encampment at Wounded Knee, South Dakota, exploded into action. Fighting back with bare hands, the unarmed Lakota warriors shouted to their wives and kids to run for cover. Old men, unable to fight back, stood defiantly singing their death songs as they were felled, murdered in the hail of bullets. The exact number of Indians killed by the 500 soldiers of the 7th Cavalry, George Armstrong Custer's old outfit, might never be known. A mass grave dug on a hillside overlooking the massacre holds the bodies of 150 men, women, and kids slaughtered December 29th, 1890. So over 134 years ago. And many other victims left for 2 or 3 days in the open air of that freezing winter died of their wounds and of exposure. The Lakota elders say that only 50 of the original 350 encamped at Wounded Knee survived that massacre. In the history books written by whites, this terrible day was called the Battle of Wounded Knee. No, it wasn't the Battle of Wounded Knee. It was the official U.S. mass murder of Native American people at Wounded Knee. And as the soldiers spread out across the reservation looking for survivors, they stopped at the school playgrounds of Holy Rosary Indian Mission. Sophie Shell, Woman Abeta, and other students were forced to feed and water the sweating horses of the cavalry killers. And this woman later recalled that many of those soldiers, U.S. soldiers, were laughing and joking about their great victory. 20 soldiers were awarded this nation's highest award, the Congressional Medal of Honor, for their mass murders that day. The church where many of the dying and wounded Lakota were taken on that day in 1890 had a banner up on the wall that read, "Peace on earth, goodwill to men." My poem, Hidden Treasures, to certain brown, black, and well-tanned white men, your lean and muscular, sexy physiques are powerful magnets drawing me to you. And why hide your magnificent bodies under shirts and long pants when the sun shines warm? Remove that cloth that obscures your masterpiece. Decades from now, some of you will wish that you still had your youthful bodies to show for both men and women to admire and desire, before cigarettes, booze, hamburgers, ice cream, Cokes, not enough exercise take their tragic toll on your gorgeous bodies. No luxury clothes can compare with the beauty of your bodies. I yearn to see your bodies naked, uncaged, unchained, celebrated, set free. Another poem that I wrote, entitled A Healing Pleasure, and I dedicate this to my beloved Jose, a bisexual man from Mexico whom I had sex with about 70 times. I deeply loved him Sadly, he was deported, and I don't know if he is dead or alive. And Jose was beaten by his dad, as sadly millions of young men, young women are. So this poem I dedicate to Jose. For the man who makes love with men and whose dad beat his ass when he was a boy, to have his ass kissed and licked by me, a man who loves him, is, I hope, a healing baptism of intense pleasure to the abused spot of pain and humiliation inflicted by an angry man many years before. Slow, man-given healing for a deep, man-made wound. Yes, I was drunk on religion and the Bible for many years, and I apologize for addicting people to religion. I was very sincere, but I was sincerely wrong. Deeply questioning whatever the religion, not just Christianity, but any religion, deeply questioning whatever the religion from our childhood can open the door to question a lot more things. Our government's evil actions, the brutal U.S. history toward African Americans, Native Americans, Mexican Americans, questioning any religion deeply can open us to question modern medicine, sexual taboos, white supremacy, racial injustices, why people want much more money, much more stuff than they need, deeply questioning how the American dream is a nightmare disaster for all life, human life, animal life, plant life, on our only home, Mother Earth. Cow's milk is great for baby cows. Human milk is great for baby humans. And animals in the wild do not drink the milk of a different kind of animal. Yes, human milk is great for baby humans if the mother eats and lives healthy, no booze, no cigarettes. No adult animal in the wild drinks milk. And just as all animals are not alike, the milk from cows, goats, pigs, humans is not alike. Cow's milk is designed to create a huge, big-boned animal in only 2 years. So if you're fat, and if you drink cow's milk and eat cheese and ice cream made from cow's milk, you may get fatter or keep the fat you already have. Cow's milk causes more mucus than any food. Thick, dense mucus that clogs and irritates your nose, your throat, sinuses, lungs. Gluey mucus that is hard for the body to get rid of. Cow's milk, if you drink it, eat it in cheese, in ice cream, cow's milk can cause hay fever, asthma, bronchitis. Cow's milk can cause sinus infection, colds, runny noses, stuffed noses. and children's ear infections. Cow's milk is one cause of allergies. Cheese is a major cause of headaches. And most of the protein in cow's milk is casein. Casein makes cancer grow faster at all stages. Casein is used to make one of the strongest glues for wood. Far more casein is in cow's milk than human milk. Our human digestion cannot break down the cow's milk casein, so our intestines get clogged with thick, rope-like mucus. Eating cheeses and ice cream, drinking cow's milk can cause or worsen heart disease, ulcers, colitis, colon cancer. Eating cheeses and ice cream, drinking cow's milk can cause or worsen prostate cancer, osteoporosis, arthritis, multiple sclerosis. Do not swallow the lies and the propaganda of the dairy ads. They want your money, man. And like cigarette and booze companies, the dairy industry wants your money. Regardless if you get sick, if you suffer and die from swallowing their damn lies. Most of all the cow's milk, cheese, and ice cream sold in U.S. grocery stores is pasteurized. The cow's milk is heated to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Pasteurization makes the cow's milk more harmful than raw cow's milk if the cows are healthy. The teeth of children fed pasteurized cow's milk are more likely to decay than the teeth of children fed raw cow's milk. Pasteurizing cow's milk does not make it clean. It could still have hair and soot and dust and dirt, shit, sweat, or small bugs in it. And pasteurizing the cow's milk reduces many nutrients. Many years ago, as a kid and into my 20s, I was addicted to much dairy, cheese, ice cream, chocolate milk. But I changed. We can change. Largely in the 1980s, I changed to stop consuming cow's milk. I eat no milk, no cheese, no ice cream. But if you insist on eating dairy, eat only raw milk and raw cheese from healthy goats. Raw milk, raw cheese from healthy goats. And you know, goats normally never get big or fat. Goat milk is definitely different from cow's milk. Raw milk from healthy goats, and make sure they're healthy, is much better, much healthier than pasteurized cow's milk. And if you want to be most healthy, consume no milk, no cheese, no ice cream, and of course, no sugar shit of any kind. Radiation, pesticides, and other harmful chemicals concentrate in meat and in dairy, causing cancer, birth defects, and less immunity to disease. I was strongly attracted to my dear friend Daniel in his 20s. And Daniel knew I am gay. He knew I was attracted to him. And one day he called me into the room where he was sitting. He had a magnificent, naked heart-on. He was offering himself to me. But I did not have sex with Daniel. And later I explained to him why I did not have sex with him. I told him I was very attracted to him, but I knew how changeable he was. I did not want him feeling ashamed, feeling guilty after sex with me. I did not want him to feel bad toward me as his friend. I did not want him to feel bad about himself, bad about sex with me. And sadly, many men feel ashamed and guilty after they orgasm and come in sex with a man. And I want any male friend I have sex with to feel good afterward as well as during sex together. To feel good about himself, about me, and about our enjoying each other's bodies. A special good memory. I'm very glad to have sex with any single, healthy, lean man who is attracted to me and to whom I am attracted if, and this is a big if he has no shame, no guilt about making love with men. The universe is far, far larger than any of us can imagine in our wildest dreams. Most of space in the universe is very cold, very lonely, very dark, except for the tiny points of light from millions of distant stars. Light travels at 186,000 miles per second. Not per minute, not per hour, 186,000 miles per second. And that is 3,600 times as fast as 186,000 miles per hour. Our sun is a medium-sized star, 93 million miles from Earth. The sunshine we see left the sun 8 minutes earlier, traveling at 186,000 miles per second. That was 93 million miles from sun to Earth. The light from some distant stars left those stars thousands or millions of years ago. So, except for our sun, the next closest star is 4 light years away from us. 4 light years away. In other words, it took 4 years for the light from that star, traveling 186,000 miles per second, to reach us. So just pretend if all the stars, except for our sun, suddenly disappeared, we would not know it for at least 4 years, and for most stars it would take hundreds, thousands, or even millions of years to know it, that they had disappeared. When we look at the stars in the night sky, we see the past, we see history. Even if we think we see now, that's very humbling for us on our tiny speck our Mama Earth. Pretend a ball could circle the whole Earth, just high enough not to hit any buildings, any mountains. And if that ball could travel at the speed of light, the ball could circle the whole Earth about 26,000 miles, about 7 times in 1 second. Traveling at the speed of light, that ball circling the whole Earth could make its trip around the Earth 7 times in 1 second, traveling 186,000 miles per second. And many stars have planets, but we know for sure of no other planets in the universe that have life like our Earth. And the worst place on Earth for humans to live is far better than the best place on any of our sun's other planets. Earth is our only home. Why trash it? And even if we don't feel it, we're traveling very fast through space. The Earth is turning, causing night and day. The Earth is going around the sun once a year. The Earth is traveling with our sun and other planets in our galaxy of stars, and our galaxy is moving through the universe. Why trash our precious home, Mother Earth, our only home? The climate crisis threatens life as we know it for plants, animals, humans, and people living in huge, clean mansions. People traveling thousands of miles for business or pleasure in cars and planes are trashing our Mother Earth far more than homeless people with shopping carts and piles of trash. Nine-year-old Billy goes to Sunday school. His sincere, kind teacher, Mary, loves the children in her class. And this Sunday, Mary teaches Jesus' words, "Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith." Billy's dad is a boozer, sadly alcoholic. Billy's dad beats and curses Billy's mother most nights when he comes home. And this Sunday night, Billy's dad is especially mean, crazy. Billy's dad pulls out a gun, threatening Billy's mother, and Billy prays with all his heart, "Dear God, stop my drunk dad from killing my mother. I believe you can." But minutes later, Billy screams when his dad shoots Billy's mother in her head and kills her. Does Billy ever again believe what his kind, sincere teacher Mary says about God and Jesus? Whatever you ask in prayer, you will receive if you have faith. Does Billy ever again go back to Sunday school? Does his teacher Mary, when she hears about this awful tragedy, still believe that verse that she taught to her kids? Does Mary eventually stop believing in God as a fair, loving, all-powerful parent who helps all those who desperately pray for help? Does Mary slowly come to see that much of religion, not just the Bible and Christianity, but much of religion is feel-good, make-believe Bullshit. Sadly, I, Don Schrader, swallowed and spread false advertising for God for many years. If Jesus actually lived, if he taught that God is a fair, loving, all-powerful parent who will help all who pray for help in desperate situations, Jesus was sadly deluded about God and reality. No matter how well-meaning and sincere he was, if he lived and if he said the things that the Bible says that he said, it just ain't true. I strongly support full human rights for all immigrants. Many immigrants flee here from war, persecution, severe poverty caused largely by the United States. Since 1950, the U.S. government, under both Republican and Democrat presidents, has overthrown 50 governments. Many of those 50 governments were democracies. Since 1950, the U.S. government has bombed 30 nations. The U.S. government deliberately supports the filthy rich in many nations. Why? To rob and oppress the poor so that huge corporations can rob the resources and cheap labor in those nations. Many immigrants would prefer to stay in their native countries if living conditions there greatly improved. The U.S. invaded Mexico in the 1840s, murdered many people in Mexico. The U.S. stole from Mexico most of what is now the U.S. Southwest, including this state of New Mexico. No human being is illegal. All immigrants are brothers and sisters. And I very much thank Mark, Eddie, Travis, and others who have helped me many times with this program, running the controls, running the cameras. And I invite you, if you see me on the street and want to talk, please talk to me. And if you like hugs, I'll be glad to hug you. I love hugs. Men, women, all ages, all colors, all sizes. I thank you for watching, and I love personal questions. To your health. My fresh piss, as an author in England said, the water of life. Thank you.
Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high, and when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine